So thanks for joining me today, Adil. And first of all, huge congratulations on the success of Circles Live. You've really been at the forefront of digital transformation and, quite frankly, disruption of the telco industry here in the APAC region. What's that been like for you in the last year, and how has your digital first strategy really helped you overcome some of the challenges that we've all faced in the global pandemic?
Been an amazing journey, obviously. And then who would have thought like COVID would happen last year? And then we've gone through that as well. So overall, really, really amazing journey. And what you said is right. So the good thing is we are more digital ready in the sense we're not a brick and mortar business. We are a digital first business. All our customer orders, everything happens online. But the other thing is, the thing we did struggle with is we are a tech company and all that, but we are not one of those huge companies which have globally distributed workforces. And even I guess you as well, right? Most of your colleagues and teams may not be in Singapore. So companies like that are very used to working in the online environment. Some of them have their bosses here and there and all that. In our high growth journey, we're in a high growth journey. We need to collaborate very closely and we need to get products out very fast and all of that. So for that, being in the office, being next to each other is very critical to move things fast. So we had to learn that out in the COVID world. And we figured out how we did was we kind of figured out a couple of big things that are really needed to get things going on. At first, there was a thing around work from home fatigue that we worked on for our workforce. Then there was another thing around collaboration as well, how to figure out digital water cooler moments and all that. So we worked on that. And then besides that, the other big thing is our big operations backend sits in Philippines, where the situation is even more worse in terms of COVID. In Singapore, people can still come to the office now and then, but in Philippines, the situation is not great. So we really had to adapt how to give the team a sense of one team, a lot more digital moments, build culture as well. And those are some of the things that have helped us.
Yeah, thanks, Adil. And I agree. I think the pandemic really was an opportunity for all companies really to step back and first of all to really identify what was important for them as an organization. I think the working from home and having to adapt to that, really quickly. I mean, that was something that we had to do at Zendesk. We had to, within a matter of weeks, really get our global workforce working online and working in that distributed manner. And so, I think we've learned a lot. I think we've learned a lot as leaders as well. Now, I know, and what I love about your mission statement is the focus that you have on the customer, Adil. And your mission statement talks about, taking that customer first approach and giving the power to the customer. Can you tell me a little bit more about, how you've really focused on that and what's been important for you as an organization in the context of the customer?
Thanks. Really glad you asked that question, because that's one of we talked about the company coming into being 2014. And one of the big things actually we started the company was we wanted to do things very differently, especially in the telco space, which is really give power back to the customer and make the customer first. And that's how our organization is built. I think how we've done it, I would say 2-3 things. I think the first and foremost and by far the most important thing is culture, which is this giving power back to the customer. We instill in everybody, all teams, we make it clear to everybody that this is the most important thing, because rest of the thing is not scalable. Like, okay, do measure things like this, solve problems like this, but this is something that you teach as a principle, and then everybody will do the right thing. So that's the one and big important thing. That's one. I think then the second key important thing is NPS is very important for us. And we're very proud about our NPS, which is, we've talked about the industry benchmarks and all that. It's way above industry benchmark across many markets. So we're very proud of our NPS, and we're very proud about the focus we have on our NPS. And again, for NPS, the big thing is this is a metric that is shared across all teams. Our engineering team has that metric, is measured on it. Product team has that metric. Customer operations team has that metric, even HR has that metric, because HR needs to figure out that all the right organizational processes are happening, we get the right folks and all that. Everybody needs to come together to get the customer NPS high. And then in the end, when we have a high customer NPS, everybody celebrates. It's not because of any one particular team. It's because of the whole company. We're serving the customers and the customers are happy. So I think that's first and foremost in terms of this giving power back to the customer. And then just adding on to that, and in terms of getting on the operational side. So NPS is one layer, then the other side is the operational side, which is day to day. We have to solve customer issues. We have to solve customer issues with quality and all that. To do that, we need to be able to track everything. We need to have the right metrics. We need to have the right discipline. We need to have the right cadence. We need to have the right tools. We also need to have the right mindset amongst the operations team as well. And of course, the things we talked about in the other question around how to operate in COVID and all that, all of those also are very important.
And Adil, how has technology really helped you with that NPS?
I think technology is key, obviously, technology is key. And on the NPS side, we've done lots of experiments. Over years, we have figured out our own system of measuring and figuring out NPS, measuring it at different touch points, how to analyze it and all that, correlation with various other factors and all that. So I think technology is at the forefront of it. And the big part is the first thing that we need to do is measure NPS. That's one. Like measuring is also an art. It's not about just sending customer NPS and then you get the NPS, but you have to measure it across various touch points and all that. Measuring is one. And then the other big part comes around correlating it with other things. So behind that is all the customer data we have, we need, and how all the customer data across various touch points and across various mediums as well, how does it connect together?
Because at the end of the day, I mean, the customers really help us to continue to innovate as an organization and to continue to deliver technology that's really going to help support customers in the very best way. Now, our customers, you know, our companies, Adil, you know, we're in similar situations, operating in such a diverse region like the APAC region. You know, where we have customers, I know yourself, you have customers in Singapore and Australia and Taiwan, Indonesia, and I think now in Japan. So how do you keep that balance when you're operating in such a diverse region like APAC? How do you keep that balance between that consistent customer experience that you want to deliver in each of those countries, but also localizing that and making sure you're aligning with the different, you know, cultures and nuances in each of those markets?
Very interesting question, Wendy, and it's a very interesting problem as well. I think first thing is, it has come to a very unique situation that we have an interesting mix of countries, Singapore, Australia, Taiwan, Japan, Indonesia, you know, kind of interesting and unique in their own ways. The thing that we've found out is that even though markets are very different, lessons and learnings from one market can be replicated to the others, and basic customer needs remain same. Basic customer needs remain same, which are, please deliver the product with quality without any issues. In case there is an issue, please set the right expectation with me on what's going to happen to that and then solve it within time. I think the other thing that helps us across these different markets is that having a single platform, having a single system and all that. And our teams work well on this platform system. They know it well. So then all the lessons can be replicated across markets as well. I think then the other thing is we also need to be mindful of local nuances as well. Obviously, sometimes there's language capabilities that need to cater to. I think that's one. The other thing would be we need to be mindful of something in a particular market. Maybe people will be wanting to do more email versus chat and all that. So some of those things we need to accommodate. So sorry for the long answer, but just in terms of summing up, one thing is the fundamental customer and human needs. I think those are across markets similar, and we need to really have hard focus on that.
Yeah, and I think, you know, at the core, creating that consistent customer experience so that wherever a customer is, whatever market they're in, their experience is the same. You know, and having that as a core value of your organization, and have it flow across the whole organization, and you know, and really drive that so that everyone fundamentally cares about the customer and about the experience that we're creating for the customer. I think that's certainly, you know, what we're seeing. That's, you know, from a Zendesk point of view, what we're very focused on. But equally having what I would call those set of non-negotiables for the local market. Now, as well as the customer, I know you're incredibly focused on building a great place to work at Circles Life. So I'd love you to tell me a little bit more about that and what you're focused on.
Thanks, Wendy. So this is something that's very important for us. And we have actually put this as one of the missions of the company, building it a great place to work and grow. And what this means is all of us at Circles Life, we spend a lot of our time at the workplace and all that. So it's important that this is very meaningful for us. This is not just a means towards an end. We want to enjoy this experience. We want to make the most out of it. We want to create the best impact. And then we also want to grow as individuals and become better and all that. So there are various parts to it. I think one part to it is obviously Circles Life is a unique journey. It's a unique journey. It's a high growth journey. It's an impact on the industry and all that. So when we talk to people and when we bring on board people, we make it clear that this is the journey that you guys are going to come on, and so the right kind of self-selection happens there. So I think that's one important thing. Then the other important thing is there are various other things we do. We have very frequent, even monthly engagement surveys that we do, and using those engagement surveys, we figure out what are the top issues and what are the top things to prioritize and all that. So we work on that. And there's regular communication that happens from the leadership team as well. And this is especially important, especially in the COVID world, where there may be many folks who've never actually physically seen each other. So we do that frequently. We have started this thing called Circle Spirit, which is every 2-3 weeks, there's a company-wide event where we come on and then we do some activities and all that. Last time we had an activity on D&I. Every Monday, we have a global town hall where the leadership team comes in, where the founders come in as well, and then we talk to folks. Those are some of the things. And this is always, again, it's part of our value is to constantly improve, grow, and become better.
Excellent. Thanks for sharing. And you mentioned the focus on DEI, diversity and inclusion. That's something that, you know, we are very focused on at Zendesk. It's probably one of the reasons that I joined the company, to be honest. And I think we all know the business case for having a diverse team in terms of what it can do for innovation and for business results. But I think, you know, also the pandemic has shown us that there is now a greater opportunity to really tap into those diverse talent pools across the region. Now that we're all working virtually and we've all got used to working virtually. And so I think that's a very significant takeaway in my mind from everything that we've gone through, our ability now to really hire an even more diverse talent pool into our organization. And I think that's something we should take forward with us. Now, in terms of what we can take forward with us and thinking about the future, Adil, any advice for leaders as we come out of this post-COVID world in terms of what they should be thinking about and how they can continue to disrupt and innovate?
So I think one obvious thing is, of course, post-COVID world, it is a hybrid workplace. So everybody think about the hybrid workplace and all that. And first and foremost, don't go in with the attitude that, oh, I know how it is going to happen. I know this and all that. Go on with an open mind. We've done tons of research on this. We've always been on the lookout and all that. Even though, all companies out there, everybody is learning. This is something new, unique and all that. So everybody is learning. So figure out your own system of how hybrid workplace works for you. Figure out the key issues and then address them. And obviously the issues will change as well. So there needs to be a refresh every 6 months. I think then besides that, there are two things that have worked really well for us about energizing the organization and making the organization move with us as well. The first thing is transparency. So being transparent with everybody, transparent about the challenges, transparent about the future, transparent about the current successes. So everybody's on the same board and everybody aligns and all that. I think that's that. The second one is around communications. Sometimes what happens is in the work and all that, in the day-to-day, we may not prioritize communications because it takes extra effort to figure out the story and figure out how you're going to communicate to a large group and all that. Sometimes that's not prioritized. So focusing on communications as well, that really aligns the organization.
That's excellent. So I think 3 things there, Adil, in terms of takeaway that I love. You know, staying true to your values, who you are as an organization, really focusing on really your strengths and doubling down on those things. And really, I think the pandemic was an opportunity for us all to step back as organizations and really identify what's important. You know, I know, you know, there were things in our organization that we were spending time on that just weren't adding value to our staff or weren't adding value to our customers. So really staying true to, you know, what's important, what your value set is, being transparent. I love that as well. You know, being transparent with your team, but equally with your customers. And then finally, communications. So thank you so much, Adil. It's been great to talk to you today. Great to hear your perspectives. Good luck. I'm really looking forward to seeing Circles Live continuing to disrupt and to drive significant growth here across the APAC region.
Thank you, Wendy. Thanks for the conversation. I really enjoyed it. Thank you.